I'm Monty Justice. I'm Monty of Monty's Plant Food Company and Monty's Joy Juice, and I'm here today to try to explain to you what pruning you might want to do if you're buying a plant in a pot in your nursery, because there's some things that need to be done to ensure that you reduce the incidence of black spot and hope that the energy in the plant comes out of good tissue and good stems and not get thwarted by bad stems that are never going to grow again. So let me show you what we have. Here are two stems that look pretty good, got a lot of foliage on them, but right in the center there, it's black. It'll never grow again. All it does is get black spot and cause problems. This other stem's the same way, and so we get rid of what we call trash or dead-end stems. All plants have them, and usually they're at the bottom of the plant. The plant starts out with many stems, but only a few of them end up in having blooms on them. And so if they don't have blooms on them, the only reason you'd leave them on there is for the sun to hit the leaves and to give energy to the plant. If that's the only stems you have, then you would want to leave them on so that you'd get energy into the plant. But if you've got other foliage, you want to take them off. And you can see they have been removed from this plant and it's open. Whereas a plant that you buy from the nursery is going to have a whole lot of stems and foliage at the bottom. You want to take the bottom 4 inches of all of the dead-end stems and the foliage off of the plant so that black spot can't splash off of the ground, or the spores will not come to that foliage and adhere to it in really wet weather like we're having right now. When you make a cut on a stem and it leaves something that looks like this, there is an insect that flies overhead, and he sees this, and he's called a borer, and he lays an egg in there and it destroys the stem. But if you take some dirt or some potting mix and you rub it on there, it darkens it, and he's smart enough to know that there's no moisture in a dead stem, so he won't stop to lay an egg. So you fool him by doing that. We want to prune so that we don't have stubs, so there's nothing sticking up or it will die back. And so to cut to this particular length is desired. This is the distance from an emerging stem that a larger stem should be cut. Here is another dead-end stem, just a short distance, and you can see on the end of it that right in there that it's dead. It's not going to ever grow again. Its trash should be removed. I'm going to take this one down and show you another one. Here's a plant where most of the foliage has been taken off, but the stems haven't been cut snug. So consequently, you would want to cut all of these stems that have died off, and you can, sometimes it's not really easy, but you can see how it's dead. Just at the bottom, why there's a little green, and those should be removed to get below where the dieback is. That's called dieback, that black on the stem, and it dies down the stem and will kill the stem all the way to the bottom if it hasn't already done so. Here's a stem with dieback. And so this is a big, heavier stem. I put the dull edge of the blade in the crotch where the stem is emerging, and I cut up with the sharp blade. I've cut beneath where the black is, and the center of the stem is cream colored, and that means it's healthy. Now that we've done that, the next thing is to seal it so that the insect that flies overhead won't lay an egg in there and develops into a borer and kills the stem again. This keeps borers from getting into your stems. So if you can see it, cover it. If you can't see it, they can't see it. Here's another stem. Looks good, but it's never going to grow because it stopped growing, and you can't make it grow again. At least I can't. So you remove it, because anything that's not going to be productive, we don't need on the plant. And here again, we got a stem that needs to be cut back, so you put the dead end, the sharp end of the clippers on the outside and cut up towards the crotch of the stem. And then you seal it. These were bare root plants that the nursery potted in a 3-gallon pot with potting mix. They will grow better in potting mix than they will in most soils because there is more air or oxygen in potting mix than there is in soils. And so therefore we grow our roses in holes where we have put potting mix, just a 10-inch hole. The roots reach, you have hundreds of little short roots about 2 inches long after the first year. And all of these are feeder roots and take in whatever nutrition and things that you put on the hole where you had put the rose. Quite a bit of difference between putting it in the ground where the roots will reach out 2 or 3 feet, but you'll have only maybe a dozen or so roots. Instead of hundreds of feeder roots, you have just a few large roots in soils that don't have as much air in them. The secret to growing any plant is having air spaces, pore spaces, oxygen in the root zone. Thank you for being with me today. I hope that some of these tips may be helpful to you. And if you have any questions, get in touch with me on my web. And I look forward to being with you the next time.